Good evening, everyone. We are certified Oola life coaches, and we are here tonight to talk to you about how to overcome obstacles. These coaches have all prepared stories that they're going to bless you with and teach you how they overcame obstacles and still were able to achieve their dreams. So, we've all been trained and certified in the framework of Oola. From this book, Oola, Find Balance in an Unbalanced World. And these certified coaches have been working hard on their speeches and their stories, and they are excited to tell you about them tonight. And I am excited to let you hear them. So, our first speaker tonight is going to be Jerry Stuckert. Jerry is a father of two kids. He also just got married last week to a beautiful bride who blessed him with two bonus kids. And he has been living an Oola life for about 4 years because this book is about 7 years old and he read it early on. And he recently joined the ranks of Oola life coaches with the rest of us. His bride, Angela, and their four teens, bless you, Jerry and Angela, for having four teens. I know what that's like. They have been spreading Oola to every person that they come into contact with. And now he's ready to share with you. Take it away, Jerry.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for putting on this platform for us. Great to meet the rest of the coaches. I can't wait to hear. Thank you so much. I am going to go first today because part of my Oola family goal was to spend some time with my new in-laws, which sounds crazy to say for me. So being married for 11 whole days now. So we just got to Carlsbad a few moments ago and getting dolled up. I got my hair all did. I'm ready to go. So I'm excited. So as far as overcoming obstacles, today, like I have a full Oola story, like a lot of the other coaches on here. And you can follow me on my page, which is Team One Oils. I have tons of information on there as well. But today I'm not going to talk about all my story. I'm just going to talk about one huge Oola finance obstacle that I was facing, and I think a lot of people in this world face the same one. So, I carried consumer debt. I had lots of credit card debt. I normalized it. I had a fear of not so much of the money, but of the actual, that the entire thing about money, about having debt. People carry debt on across the thing. It's very normalized. Everyone, right? Everyone has debt. Everyone uses credit cards. Everyone uses or has student loans, all the different things. So I had all of it. I wasn't drowning in it, but I was paying hundreds of dollars every single month to pay off some debts from things I had purchased a long time ago. And I carried my student loan debt for 25 years after graduating college. That's amazing. That's a super long time. Car payments, I feel like everyone had it. I had heard of Dave Ramsey before. I kind of dabbled in the idea of like what it could be to be debt free. I lived in that dream of, just being debt free, but I never really fully realized what it took to get to that point. Um, you know, I heard like you could smash a debt, you can snowball effect, you can get rid of it. It's super easy. I think I had that same feeling a lot of people do when they set, you know, uh, at the beginning of the year, you'll set your goal that is very not fully formalized. I'm going to lose 10 pounds this year, maybe. We never really kind of gave it, the whole try. So um, I didn't know how to smash debt, how to do it, what would be the benefits of being debt free, and I was lacking focus. So my big Oola blocker was focus. I was just living the life and racking up more debt, and my calendar was going the wrong direction. So I just allowed society opinions to sway me, and It wasn't easy to pay off because there was always some new fun toy to get or to pay off or go on a trip or spend money on my kids on all the different activities and everything they wanted to do. So that was hard. So for me, it was focus. And what it took was a little over 2.5 years ago. I took a hard look at Oola Finance and what it took to um, actually put some real goals around it. And I had, bigger dreams, right? The bigger dream is being debt free, but I had to work backwards and I had to start at slow and start at some steps. And for me, once I kind of looked at the finance, what it took, where my giant amount of money that I needed, that I owed people for, how would I attack this? So what I did is I looked into a personal finance class in my area. I found two amazing teachers that taught it right locally, and then they teach classes all over the place. And I started setting some goals. I started going through the program. I started chipping away instead of spending lush money on this and that. I actually had a plan. I had weekly plans. I kept a card in my pocket about things that I didn't need to spend money on. I worked my way through it, and I was able to knock out after another. 2 years ago, it'll be 3 years in January, I paid off all my student debts. That was huge to me, and it was something that wasn't on my goals. I was able to knock it out because it had a small interest rate. So what is it hurting me? It's only $100 a month. It's just kind of out there that I just keep chipping off. But once I started dedicating, and boom, I knocked that one off. Then it was easy. Boom, a couple months later, I was able to get rid of my final credit card. I haven't used a credit card since January of 2018. That has been a phenomenal, freeing feeling. And because of that, I was able to move forward, and I got to a point where I paid off my vehicle. And right now, besides the house that I own with my new bride, I'm completely debt free because I shed myself of the focus and the fear that I had, going through all that. And I think a lot of people have that same feeling. And I'm glad to be a part of this. Kevin, thanks so much again, because I want to be able to help people also fulfill and realize those dreams, not just with Oola Finance, but with the entire Oola plethora of categories. So thank you so much.
That is awesome, Jerry. And we really appreciate you taking time out of your vacation. I know what you just got to start today,
Hey, it's super important.
and to share that with us. Oh, it is. And I know the feeling. I'm in a similar situation, and it is awesome to be able to know and wake up every day and know that you are debt free, except for your mortgage. And I can't wait till we get that
Huge.
paid off. That's going to feel even better, right? And I know you will too. All
Yep,
right.
100%.
Our
Yeah.
next, that's right. Our next coach tonight is Julie Michelle Phillips. And you know she's going to be good. She's got three names, right? Julie Michelle Phillips. You know that means she's going to be good. She's an Oklahoma gal and a wife and a mama, and she is the J-Ma to 8 gorgeous grandbabies. She is an Oola life coach and founder of the Epiphany Effect. For 15 years, Julie enjoyed creating beautiful spaces for her clients as an interior decorator. And now, as a life coach, she has the opportunity to help clients design their own best life. Julie has a heart for helping women of all ages and inspiring aha moments that lead to vision, clarity, and growth in their lives. She also loves working with couples and encouraging them to dream together, as well as cultivating better communication and connection within their marriage. Julie is admitting tonight that she recently turned 50, and several of us saw the pictures to prove it. She is enjoying just halftime in her life, and she is ready to spring forward and tell you about how she overcomes obstacles. So, Julie, it's all your turn.
Thank you, Kevin. I am going to confess that I have so many things I could share that have happened in my life where I've been able to overcome obstacles. And I know me well enough to know that I could go on and on and on and on. And since Kevin has given us 7 minutes to talk, and I know that somehow I ramble a lot longer than that, I decided the best way for me to share kind of about my recent birthday and where I'm at. Uh, part of my little story, a little part of my story, about how I've overcome obstacles is to just share a blog that I recently wrote. And that way it'll kind of keep me on task and I won't ramble off and bunny trail too much. So I'm just going to share, I'm just going to read it to you, but I'm going to read it to you because it comes from my heart. So I'm going to share with you. It's called Losing My Marbles and Finding More Gratitude. I lost my mama when I was a little girl. She was 27 years old, 11 months, and 13 days old. She was strong. She was courageous. She was nurturing and loving. She was full of grace. She was an encourager even when she was the one sick. Her faith was active and unwavering, even in the face of death. Her example instilled and inspired a fierce faith in me, even as a little girl. When my mama realized her battle on this earth was going to have the different outcome than she had hoped for, somehow she prepared me for her death. She spoke candidly with me about going to heaven and how I would see her there someday. She shared confidently that she wouldn't be sick anymore. And she even told me that I would need to help her find a new mommy for me and my baby brother. I asked her, "Can I take my dolly to heaven with me? And are you going to show Jesus your bald head when you get to heaven?" These seemed like normal conversations because the way she prepared me, the way she prepared that little girl, it just made sense. I had an understanding that didn't make sense to me even now. I don't know how she did it as a mother myself. I honestly can't quite fathom it. But my mama helped me see good things in the midst of an awful situation. She was my first example of gratitude in the midst of grief. From that early age, I think I believed I too would have a short life. And somehow that was okay. It wasn't a scary feeling. I wasn't even sad or worried about it. I didn't dwell on it at all. It's just the way it was going to be, in my mind anyway. But then, one day, it so happened that I reached 27 years, 11 months, and 14 days. It's so interesting looking back how something just clicked in me on that day. Suddenly, I began believing I could live to be as old as my great grandmother, who was happy, cheerful, and absolutely darling until the moment she went to meet Jesus at 103 years old. Wow, what an epiphany. I could live to be 103. In retrospect, I wish I had taken that revelation and thoroughly grasped how precious all my time is, whether I had a short life or a much longer one. I wish I had fully realized then that every moment matters. But I was juggling three littles, a floundering marriage, and all the busyness that life brings. Too busy to stop and reflect on how precious those moments really were. Too caught up in the day-to-day routine, trying to be all the things to all the people, chasing the perception of perfection. Through the years, life brought more challenges, more trials, more heartbreaks. In my brokenness, I always found myself asking, "God, why?" I didn't see the purpose in my pain. I didn't understand. But even though I couldn't see it yet, Somehow, I believed there was a reason for all of it. One day, when I was mourning the loss of my marriage and facing the reality that I had failed to keep my family whole, I ran across the scripture in James 1 that says, "Consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds. Be assured that the testing of your faith through experience produces endurance, leading to spiritual maturity and inner peace. And let endurance have its perfect result in a thorough work, so that you may be perfect and completely developed in your faith, lacking nothing." What the heck? Does God mean that basically I'm supposed to be grateful for my trials? It was in that moment that I thought back to my mama's example. I found myself believing I would see something good on the other side of this pain. I began choosing to look for things that were true, that were noble, that were reputable, authentic, compelling, gracious, the best, not the worst, the beautiful, not the ugly, things to praise, not to curse, like Philippians 4:9 talks about. The scripture I began clinging to at that time in my life was Jeremiah 29:11 through 13, and it's still my absolute favorite. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and you will find me when you seek me with all your heart." Guess what? With that scripture as my daily affirmation, as my constant inspiration, and my optimistic expectation, my perspective changed. Gratitude and hope took over my thoughts. My life began to change. God started showing me that His plan is way, way, way better than any one that I had for myself. He started revealing the purpose in all the pain, and I started seeing the beautiful life I had and the even more beautiful one that was coming. In Oola, we use the analogy about life and our time here on earth with two jars of marbles. One jar for the past, one jar for the future. For me, I have a total of 103 marbles because my grandmother inspired me for that number. Last week, I had the opportunity to take one marble from my past into my future jar, from one marble from my future into my past jar. And that was okay. It wasn't scary. It wasn't bad. In fact, it was really fun. Sometimes I catch myself back and regretting the marbles I wasted, but not for long. Life has shown me that every year holds value in my journey. Every hurt, heartache, mistake, misstep, every tear, every trial, they all brought me right here, and they all helped me become who I am today. I am truly grateful for all of it. I'm grateful for every chapter in my book, every bump in my road, and all the beautiful things I've learned along this journey. Like I said last week on October 14th, I took a marble from my future jar and I placed it in the past one. And this Oola marble here is what represents today. This is my representation of my life for this year in my 40s. It's funny how 40 used to seem old, and now it's simply halftime. Another week goes by, another day goes by, another year goes by, but they can all be good. This has been an awesome epiphany that life has provided me. I can't wait to see what God has in store for me in the second half of my life. I'm excited about every marble I have left in my future jar, but mostly I'm excited about this one that represents today. When I reflect on my mama's handful of marbles, I no longer see too few because she made them count. Her marbles had a purpose and they left a positive impact. Her example still inspires me. It inspires me to look at life through a lens of gratitude and inspires me to make today count. That's my story.
That is excellent, Julie. And I did read your blog last week on the Oola page, and we'll include a link to that blog for those of you that might want to read it again so that you can go and catch that. That's an awesome, heartwarming story. And it is so true how when you've got something to look forward to in the future, how much more gratitude you can have about the day you have today.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is going to be Renee Arledge. Renee is also a certified Oola life coach, of course, as well as an aroma freedom technique practitioner and instructor, and a Holy Flyer 3 Reiki master teacher, and owner of Reiki for Transitions. And Renee, if I didn't say that right, please repronounce it for everyone. She teaches a class called AFT Oola, where she combines aroma freedom and Oola coaching to help those who are stuck find mental freedom to pursue their happiness. She teaches in person and online, and also has classes internationally. So we're very privileged to have Renee with us tonight, and we'll let her tell you her story. Take it away, Renee.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for having me on tonight. And Jules, that was a beautiful story. Awesome. So blessed to have heard that tonight. So what I like to share when I help people with Oola and achieving their goals, I like to just explain to them how I use Oola and the aroma freedom technique in my own life to help me achieve my own goals. And I can give you a very simple example that happened very recently after a coaching call with Avonlea. She had suggested that we unclutter our lives. And one of my big blockers is laziness. And it's a bad one because, you know, if you are lazy, you're just never going to attain your goals. But I also have a very strong affinity for the accelerator of discipline. And when I use discipline, I overcome my laziness every single time. But it doesn't always make it easy to achieve my goals just by using discipline to overcome my laziness. There are also these internal voices that I think everybody hears when they're about to do something that perhaps they don't want to do, or they've had trouble doing, or they've done in the past and didn't succeed. And those internal voices are really what hold you back. Those are the bigger blockers that we often don't realize because they're subconscious. And you may not actually even hear a voice, so to speak. You might just have a feeling inside of you, a tension somewhere in your body that's telling you that you are not comfortable or you are not safe doing whatever it is you're about to do. And to overcome that internal voice, that's when I use the aroma freedom technique. And that technique, if you're not familiar with it, is a technique that was created by a clinical psychologist called Dr. Benjamin Perkins. And he has used this technique in his practice for many years. And with the technique, what happens is you use your own memories and experiences along with some essential oils to take your energy from a feeling of contraction and doubt to a feeling of confidence and motivation and expansion. And it takes really just 20 minutes, 45 minutes for you to go through a session. You can do it for yourself. You could have somebody facilitate a session for you. And what happens is you take your memory complex, that experience you've had some point in your life, and it breaks apart the complex. and allows you to refile it in a different way. It doesn't feel the same, so you don't have that internal tension to move forward. You don't have that experience that you had in the past holding you back any longer. And I use this technique to get rid of my email clutter and my Facebook clutter, because as a lazy person, I tend to let my emails pile up and I don't go through everything in my Facebook page. And sometimes just knowing that there's all of these things waiting for me to look at and review makes me feel overwhelmed. And when I am overwhelmed, I don't really want to do anything, which I just use the aroma freedom technique, figure out what it is that's really holding me back, break through those blockers. And then I went through and I uncluttered my email and my Facebook in just a couple of hours. And it just seemed incredibly easy for me. And why did I wait so long to do it? I'm sure that there are plenty of people that are trying to achieve goals that often run into the same obstacles that I have. And that's why I like to help people who are stuck. So if you're stuck, know that there is help out there. It may not just be a matter of matching an accelerator with a blocker. You might actually have some internal experiences throughout your life that are holding you back.
Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome.
That was awesome. And certainly, I'm sure it's something that others will want to find out more about.
Sure.
Okay. Our next speaker and last speaker for this evening is Jazzy Will. Now, with a name like Jazzy, you know it's going to be good. So get your ears on, everyone, and be ready to listen, because Jazzy brings with her a Tony Robbins RMT Success Thought Coach certification. And that's harder to achieve than it is to say. And she is also a John Maxwell facilitator. She has an exuberant passion for helping others achieve their goals and successes. She's also has 21 years of experience in the education profession, and she's a leader in mental wellness arenas and is a gut health advocate. So she can help your brain as well as your insides. And Jazzy's main mission in life is to inspire others to do what they believe they can't do and to always play full out. So, Jazzy, inspire us tonight.
Well, let's hope. I don't know. After those last two stories, guys, oh my gosh, my heart is just sitting here pounding. You ladies are absolutely amazing, and thank you so much for sharing. Jules, I could so relate to what you were saying with the fact that we've had so many obstacles and so many things happen in our life, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that can relate to that. And for me, it was my story tonight. I had actually shared last week on Facebook. And that's the story about my battles that I have had with anxiety and depression. And, it's gone on as far back as I can absolutely remember. And it's stifled my life so many times and in so many different ways. And I mean, there were times that when my children were small, I would be in a store and my anxiety would so overwhelm me to the point that I would be perfectly fine and I would be walking along and all of a sudden I would look up and the whole room would just feel like it was coming in on me and I couldn't breathe. I just felt like I was being suffocated and all I could do was think about how I could get out of that store. And my depression has been so bad at times that I found myself on the couch just in tears, just sobbing uncontrollably. And I couldn't move off of that couch. I just felt like I had this dark cloud that was constantly hanging over me, just pushing me down. And, when you get into those mental spaces and stuff, you turn to things that aren't good for you and that aren't healthy for you. And there were so many times that I reached out for help and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find what I was looking for. And yet I knew that I had to do something. And so one of my saving graces was when I would find myself dealing with these bouts of anxiety and depression, I was able to learn. And once I figured this out, but I was able to learn that if I could get my focus from me and thinking about me and where I was at to how I could help someone else or make someone else's day, I could switch my anxiety and depression. And so that was where I started on kind of a self-exploration journey. But at the time, it was kind of when the big hype started coming around about life coaches. And I found a coach that I absolutely adored, and I worked with her over the course of a year. And she was able to give me a lot of the tools that I needed to move forward and to be able to move beyond a lot of my bouts that I was having with anxiety and depression. But I was still finding myself kind of in places where, it was like one day I was like, okay, I can cope. And the next day it was like, I can't cope. And the next day I was like, I can cope. And the next day it was like, I can't cope. But this is what I want to say though, guys, when I found that life coach, and this is why I am such a believer in life coaches. And one of the reasons that I got involved in the Oola program is because we all need coaches. We need those people in our lives. We need those people that are going to help keep us accountable and that are going to help us transition through the tough times in life and, even through the good times in life. But we need those people in our lives. I know personally to this day, I have a coach that I'm accountable to every single week. I also have a mentor that I work with on a monthly basis. And so, in Oola, we talk a lot about the importance of pulling those people into our lives that we need. And that's what a coach can do. So if you don't have a coach, get a coach. I know there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us on here tonight. You can reach out to any one of us. But, with the depression and the anxiety, I still really, really, really was struggling with it, even up until a couple of years ago. And one of the things that I really felt like was kind of the missing link in my life was the fact that I was doing the things, I had the coaches, I was using the tools and the strategies, but I still really was having, times where I was struggling. And so for me, and we teach this in Oola, it is one of the F's. For me, it was a fitness factor. And within the fitness factor, it wasn't just about being physically active because I was already physically active, but it was about a nutritional supplement, or not a nutritional supplement, but a nutritional piece. And so for me, it was also about changing up and shifting my diet. I removed three basic things in my diet. One was gluten, one was sugar, and the other was dairy. Not that I have taken them completely out of my life, but I have removed them from my life a lot. I still allow myself the treats here or there. So, it's really all about a great big huge picture when it comes to overcoming obstacles. It's not just one thing. It's a number of things. And for a lot of people, or for myself, it's been surrounding myself with the people that empower me, like the Oola Army. It's also the leadership that I'm involved with. There's just a number of things, but those people are so very important. It's also about programs like the Oola program that helps people take those daily action steps, that helps them find that balance in their life. And it's also about the nutritional part, guys. When you put those three things together, you become unstoppable. So the real question actually is, though, what are you willing to overcome to get to where you want to go?
Well, that was certainly inspiring, Jazzy. as it always is when you talk. I see you on Facebook Lives lots of times during the week, and I always have to stop and listen because I know you're going to make me feel more energized. And the point of me saying is that this, just like Jazzy said, everyone needs a coach. Have you ever had a fitness coach or just a buddy or a person that maybe helps you exercise or exercises with you? They believe in you that you can do it. You can lift that 10 more pounds, or you can walk those 10 more steps or that extra mile that you may not believe that you can do yourself. A coach and a friend and a mentor or a guide will believe in you. And that is one of the things that gives you the edge to help you actually overcome your obstacle and achieve your goals, because you know that that friend and coach and mentor has your back and they believe in you and they've told you you can do it. And then you start to believe that yourself. So that is why it's such an awesome idea for everyone to have a coach. And as we mentioned before earlier in the broadcast, all of us have been certified in the Oola framework of this book, Oola, Find Balance in an Unbalanced World. So we guide people through the Oola framework and we help them to have less stress, find more balance, and find more purpose than they've ever known they had before. And it is an amazing feeling when you have a purpose to do that day and the next day, that you just wake up ready to take on the world. I can attest to that, and I'm sure all of these coaches would attest to the same thing. So we will include a link for this book, and if you'd like to order one, you can certainly do that tonight. We'll have it down in the comments below our video. And we'll also have a link so that you can find these coaches. We have a Oola coach directory, and I'll put a link for that. And many of them, as they said, are on Facebook, Instagram, etc. And you can find them there also. Ladies and Jerry, who had to leave, we certainly appreciate you presenting tonight. We want to say thank you for sharing your stories and inspiring us to live a better life and go get our Oola life. So we're going to end tonight in a very special way. All of us coaches we're going to unmute ourselves. And together, we're going to say the phrases that we like to say when we end one of our broadcasts. Be grateful.
Be grateful.
Have
Be
faith.
grateful.
And go get your
Have
Oola
faith.
life.
Oola life.
And go get your
And that's
Oola
about
life.
as together as we can be. Have fun, everyone. Have a great evening.